How we doing, everybody? Just got a little bit of a truck update for you. Now, in an earlier video I was talking about how I was having some issues with the dual tank system on my truck. Well, tomorrow morning, just before I head into work, I'm actually dropping my truck off to the shop that is right up the street from my work. I'm just going to walk down to the shop. It's actually the same guy who did the shocks, or the rear shocks and the escape for me. But this is the problem that I'm having with the dual tanks in my truck. Now, this was back in January that this happened, but one day I had filled up both fuel tanks and I was running around on the rear tank, and that day I had driven something like 90 miles on the rear tank, and I had gone through like 3/4 of the rear tank, and I'm like, something's got to be wrong here. So went up to an auto club show the same day, or the same evening that I had filled up both tanks. Now when I got up there, I smelled some fuel around my truck. Now, didn't think anything of it. I was parked next to a guy with an old carbureted truck, so I thought it was just him. When I got home that evening, I still smelled fuel around my truck. So first thing I went to check was just the fuel caps. Rear cap was fine, and when I cracked the front cap for the front tank, fuel just poured out. Now, I've done some research, and the way that the fuel systems work on trucks that have dual tanks from 1990 and up is that there's the high pressure electric pump in either tank, and selector switch that's on the dash. So you have your front and rear tank selector. All that does is controls which pump turns on. Now, the way that the switching is actually done, well, like I said, with that switch, however, I did some research reading. Each high pressure pump has got a supply check valve which prevents backflow into the pump, keeps the prime on the fuel system. Now, there is also something called a selector shuttle valve in either tank, as part of the fuel pump module assembly. And I believe the trouble is with that selector shuttle valve for the front tank, since that's a tank that is filling up when I use the rear tank. Now, I'll let you guys know how I make out. Now, one thing that I noticed, let me crawl up underneath the truck here, and let me just turn on the flashlight on my phone. Just give me a second here, guys. Now, we're taking a look at the fuel pump, and you can see how crusty and nasty that is. Hopefully he can get it apart without destroying the top of the tank. Now, if he can't, we'll probably have to be putting a front tank in this truck. Now, I do have a good tank on my parts truck, so we'll let you guys know how everything goes. So I will see you guys in the next clip. How we doing, everybody? Well, got the fuel cross-filling issue figured out in my truck. Turns out it is the front fuel pump assembly, as I had suspected. Both check valves in the pump assembly have failed in the open position, meaning that fuel can freely cross-flow when I'm using the rear tank. Now, I opted to go with the complete fuel delivery assembly, as the top on my truck is not in very good shape, and we're also going to be putting in a new front tank that came out of my parts truck. Now, this one does have a pump assembly in it. However, we don't know if it's the same. Probably could look that up, but we do know that the one that's in the back of the car is the correct one, so we're going to use that one. Now, I did pop the pump assembly out, took a look inside the tank, and inside the tank is spotless. You could eat out of it if you wanted to. So tonight's project will be to take this tank, just clean it up a little bit, and hit it with some flat black Rustoleum. So what I'll do is, after this clip, I will put some pictures of what the tank looks like after I get it painted. So, see you guys when I get my truck back, which should be within the next day or two. Alrighty, we got the truck back now. It's actually Monday. My buddy got really busy on Friday. His day got totally screwed up, so he really didn't have time to finish it on Friday, but he finished it up this morning for me. Texted me at about 2 o'clock this afternoon saying that it was all done. Come pick it up. So after work, met my dad at the house. He drove me over to my buddy's shop and got the truck back. All is good now. I filled it up with fuel, both tanks. He left the old tank in the bed for me. That'll probably just go in the scrap metal pile. He gave me the sending unit that we took out of the front tank. It's in the toolbox. And not sure how well you can see that, but we do have our new tank up in there now. He also rust converted and painted the straps for me. The straps that were on the truck were actually new straps that somebody had done not too long ago, it looks like. So we used those instead of the straps out of the parts truck. But I'm very happy with the job that he did. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Next video, planning on uploading here in the next couple of days, is actually going to be your outboard spring start. And then this weekend, have an outboard club meet that I'm going to up in Windsor, Connecticut. I'll definitely get some video of there. And thanks for watching. Bye.